Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today is day 2 of our destination category for this month. Yesterday, we went to Greenland and found out that there's something unbelievable there that nobody knew about, no one in the world knew about until 2013, just 10 years ago. What they found was Greenland's Grand Canyon.
所以呢，我们昨天读到了，在格陵兰呢，这些科学家们呢，从3个国家来的科学家发现了这个地底下面有一个大峡谷。好，那么到底这个 Greenland 还有什么样很特别的地方呢？我们今天要来看一看啦。
Greenland's Grand Canyon. How was Greenland's Grand Canyon formed? There are 2 possible ways. The first is that the canyon was formed by huge ice sheets. When ice sheets slowly move across the land, they scratch its surface and create deep holes. The largest lakes in the world, the Great Lakes of Canada and the United States, were formed this way. However, this theory is probably not true because the canyon is much older than Greenland's current ice sheet. The other way is that the canyon was formed by huge rivers in the past. For the last 2 million years, the world's temperatures have gone up and down countless times. When they go up, a lot of water melts from Greenland's ice sheet and flows into the ocean. This extremely huge amount of water carved the long, deep canyon. Later, when temperatures went down again, the river dried up and became filled with snow and ice. The discovery of Greenland's icy Grand Canyon is quite surprising. How could something so large exist, and we only just recently noticed it? The canyon also helps scientists understand the environmental history of Greenland. Even though we would like to see the canyon up close, we don't want all the ice covering it to melt. If it did, the world's sea level would go up 7 meters, which would do more harm than good.
How was Greenland's Grand Canyon formed? To form something is to shape or to make something. And here shape is probably a better verb because it produces a particular style or appearance if it is shaped.
所以老师刚才说的 formed 也可以用 shaped 这个字来作为替换。然后他说，到底这个格陵兰这样子的一个大峡谷是如何形成的呢？
There are 2 possible ways or methods.
对，以下呢就有2个可能性啦。
The first is that the canyon was formed by huge ice sheets. An ice sheet, another word for that, we didn't use it yesterday, glacier, G-L-A-C-I-E-R. G-L-A-C-I-E-R. It's like a river of ice, but when your river has water in it, it can go fast. Glaciers don't move very fast at all, maybe just a few centimeters a day.
对，所以老师刚才介绍这个字呢 glacier 就是冰河的意思。那刚刚老师说冰河基本上不像一般的河川，它的流动性是比较大的，它是很缓慢的这样子移动。好，所以他就说第一个这样的一个可能性呢，就是这一个峡谷以前呢，它形成就是由这些巨大的这一些冰层 sheet 就是薄薄的这样的一些薄片，所以就是由这些冰层所形成的。
When ice sheets slowly move across the land, they scratch its surface and create deep holes. And that's no surprise. You know, ice is pretty heavy. In Taiwan, we rarely see it, but you might in the States in the winter or in the summer, we may buy a block of ice. And it's surprisingly heavy. Now imagine a river of ice and how heavy that must be, even though it's not moving very fast as it goes over the rocks. Scratch, maybe stomp.
Right.
Crush
对
might be a better word. It's so heavy. That's one reason it moves so slowly. But anything under it is going to be in a bad situation. And rocks will turn to sand or to pebbles.
好，所以接下来就是讲说呢，它的这个形成的方式，就是当这一些冰层呢，它虽然移动的很缓慢，可是老师刚才讲这个冰很重，它的重量非常的重，所以当它呢经过了这些陆地的时候呢，绝对会在这些陆地上面呢会 scratch 会刮伤 ，OK， 会刮伤它的这个陆地，然后一刮伤呢，造成它的这个表面就形成了一些这个很深的洞就出来了。
The largest lakes in the world, the Great Lakes of Canada and the United States, between Canada and the United States, were formed this way. They were made this way from the North Pole and northern Canada and Alaska. The glaciers moved south and dug up holes, and when they went back with a warming of the climate from tens of thousands of years ago, they melted and they filled the holes, and we have 5 of the largest lakes in the world, all connected to each other, the Great Lakes.
所以刚刚老师在介绍这个5大湖是怎么形成的，主要就是因为刚才这样的一个原因，这一些 glaciers 往这个南方这样子移动，然后最后他们在慢慢的往北边，天气比较暖和的时候，然后他们开始融化了，那就在这个湖泊里面被他们形成的这个深洞里面，好，那这个冰块就融化在里面了。所以世界上最大的湖泊就是在加拿大跟美国之间的5大湖，它的形成方式就是这个样子。
I grew up about a 30-minute drive from Lake Ontario, the easternmost of the 5 lakes. Not so far, not close, not so far from the Atlantic Ocean. And big cities grew up around this lake. Toronto in Canada, Buffalo, and Rochester in New York. It was the last lake. The other 4 were further in. That's a farming area. So everything that the farms or mines produced was put onto ships, and they could go, without stopping, they could go directly to the Atlantic Ocean.
OK， 所以5大湖的这个形成4个湖在这边，那另外1个湖在这里。对。
However, this theory is probably not true. The theory that the canyon was created by glaciers, that's a possible theory, but it doesn't seem likely. It doesn't seem very probable because the canyon is much older than Greenland's current ice sheet. So the canyon was formed before one of the several times that ice formed over Greenland. The Earth's climate has changed more times than you could count. It's billions of years old, and an event like glaciers covering Greenland and then going back so there are no more glaciers, but there are holes in the rocks. That can take 20, 50, 100 million years. But what's that compared to billions of years of history?
没错，所以呢，接下来他就讲了。然而呢，刚才我们讲的这样的一个冰河的这样的一个刮伤表面的理论，也有可能呢，并不是那么样的正确。主要的原因就是因为呢，这些峡谷呢，它是比这个 Greenland 的这个冰层呢，目前的 current。好，比它目前的这样的冰层要老的太多太多了。就像老师刚才讲的，你用几百万年、几千万年前跟几十亿年前来比，哇，那它老的非常非常的多，所以有可能这样的一个 theory， 这样的一个理论也可能是不对的。
Okay, we'll find out about the next theory after the break.
好的。
Okay, welcome back. Let's find out more about Greenland's ice sheets and how old they are and how they were formed. The other way, remember we talked about there are two theories of how the Grand Canyon of Greenland was formed. We said there are two theories. The first was the ice sheets that we talked about, the glaciers, in the first paragraph. The other way, the other method, the other theory, is that the canyon was formed by huge rivers in the past. Well, that's how the Grand Canyon was formed. It was formed by, in fact, the river is still there at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, but it took millions and millions of years to dig into the earth and make the Grand Canyon so deep. And we'll talk about how far in the past in a moment.
Yeah. 好，所以接下来呢，第二个说法，刚才讲的第一个说法是因为这个冰层的刮到它的表面，然后形成的这些洞。那么第二个说法呢，就是说这一些峡谷它形成的方式，是因为在过去呢有一些很巨大的河流所形成的。那老师刚才讲了，美国大峡谷的最下面也是有那个河川在那边，那是要好几百万年才形成的。
For the last 2 million years, the world's temperatures have gone up and down countless times. So we've had warmer periods, we've had cooler periods. And it's not just for the last 2 million years. It's more like the last 2 billion years, but that's hard to deal with. 2 billion years ago, we didn't have the continents. There was one big continent, not separate continents anyway. That's a fascinating story that you will learn about in science at some point. Anyway, if the temperature keeps going up and down over long, long periods of time, then rivers, when the temperature goes up very high, will become much smaller and not have enough power to dig into the earth.
好，所以接下来就是说了，因为呢，这个大概是在以前的这个过去的200万年里，当老师说有可能不止这个时间，可是因为以前太久以前的时间的时候，我们也没有办法了解到这个气温这样的一个变化。他说呢，尤其是当这一些世界上的这个温度在过去的这200万年里，我们整个世界的气温呢，其实一直都经历着往上往下这样的上上下下的起伏，而且是 countless， 就是数不清有几次了，已经无数次这样子温度的上上下下起伏。
So when I hear people say the temperatures are getting hotter and hotter and rising, I say, so what? Wait 1,000 years.
对，很多年前，几千年前就是这样了。
All right, when they go up, they here refers to these temperatures. So when the Earth's climate naturally gets warmer, a lot of water melts from Greenland's ice sheet and flows into the ocean. Well, when the temperature is warmer, there will be less ice.
对，所以呢，这边就是讲了温度，这个 they 就是指温度。这个温度呢，当它往上，就是比较温暖的时候，那当然呢，这些很多的这些水呢，它们就会这个融化掉了。融化掉之后呢，就是从这个 Greenland 来的这些 ice sheet， 它们就融化变成这些水，并且呢，它们就会流到河川里面去了。
This extremely huge amount of water,because Greenland is so big. And remember, at least now, the Greenland now, 2 miles, 3 kilometers deep of ice. Can you imagine if even half of that melts? That's a huge amount of water. And it flows, and so it will carve, it will force its way through the water, through the rock. And that's what we see when we see rivers. And that's what created the long, deep canyon.
所以呢，他就说了，因为这个融化的这个水量呢，实在是太大了 ，extremely huge amount， 就是它的量是非常非常的大，所以呢，就会刻画出这个 carve， 就是刻画出呢非常长又很深的峡谷。
Later, after this episode of fluctuating or changing temperatures, when temperatures went down again, Remember, they went up and the ice melted. We had a huge amount of water. Then when the opposite happened, when the temperatures went down, when they decreased, the river dried up. There was no source of water for them. And where the rivers used to be became filled with snow and ice, which is the situation we find now in Greenland.
后来呢，就是接着我们刚才讲的嘛，刚才是天气比较温暖，现在是比较凉了，所以它的气温往下降了。又在往下降的时候呢，这时候我们就可以知道了，它的水就不是融化掉了，而它的河流呢就整个干枯掉了。为什么呢？因为它整个就被覆盖的，里面全部都填满了所谓的冰跟雪都在里面。
Okay, we'll find out still more and finish our second day after the break. Welcome back, everyone, and we'll be soon saying goodbye to the second day of our Greenland adventure. The discovery of Greenland's icy Grand Canyon is quite surprising. How? Well, we'll find out in the second sentence.
好，所以老师先不能把秘密跟你们说。好的，这句话它的意思是说呢，这个格陵兰呢，它这个冰冷的icy， 好，就是冰冰冷冷的这个大峡谷呢，它的这样的一个 discovery， 它的这样的一个发现，科学家把它发现出来，实在是非常的令人讶异。怎么样的讶异呢？
Why? How could something so large exist? And we only just recently noticed it. People have been around, well, science has been around maybe for just a few hundred years, but mankind has gone all over this planet. We know where all the islands and continents are. We know where all the oceans are. But Greenland is so big, so far north, covered with so much ice and snow, nobody even thought that there might be a canyon underneath.
没有错，所以为什么这样的 surprising， 就是因为这么样一个大的东西，巨大的东西，竟然能够存在，哈！而且呢，我们这些人类呢，最近才发现，哈，原来在这个冰层下面有这么大一个峡谷在下面，这是实在是一件让人家觉得很讶异的事。
Yeah, you could say we know more about the moon than we know about the Earth.
没错，所以可能我们对于外太空这些月球的东西都可能知道的更多。
The canyon also helps scientists understand the environmental history of Greenland. As we said, knowing it's there, well, how did it get there? Oh, well, we've got some theories. People start thinking about it, and they will understand Greenland better and better.
没错，所以呢，就是因为这样子的发现到这样的一个大峡谷呢，同时呢，也帮助科学家呢去了解到说，哇，原来这个 Greenland 它的这个环境的历史是什么样子，哈，从这个峡谷可以了解得更清楚。
Even though we would like to see the canyon up close, it would be thrilling if you could somehow dig down 2 miles to the canyon. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
Not in today's technology.
No.
And we don't want all the ice covering it to melt. Remember, it's already been found that there were periods of higher temperatures than we have today on this planet. And so a lot of the ice and snow melted on Greenland from that time. Then the climate changed again, got colder, and now Greenland is almost completely covered by ice and snow.
好的，所以接下来他说，尽管呢，我们很想靠近一点去看一下，哎呀，这个大峡谷，可是它在那么下面，对不对？我们想要更靠近的距离的去观察这样的一个峡谷，可是呢，我们可不希望所有的这一些覆盖它的冰呢都融化嘛。你总不能说把这一块挖开来，然后让大家跳进去看，那里面的冰就化掉了。所以我们也不希望这种事发生。好。
But it can't happen that way. It will take centuries or maybe thousands of years
要花几千年
for all the ice and snow on Greenland to melt. It will take much longer for the ice and snow of Antarctica to melt. So relax.
对，所以不太可能的，放轻松吧。
Still, you should learn how to swim.
Yeah, right.
Okay, if it did, if the warming planet, if the temperatures melted all the ice and snow of Greenland, the world's sea level, how high or low the sea level is, would go up 7 meters. That's about 22 feet, if you prefer feet, which would do more harm than good.
Oh.
Well, look at Taiwan. I live in Danzui, and we're right by the ocean. And 7 meters would be 2 or 3 stories. Fortunately, we're on the 5th floor.
还好他住5楼，所以会淹到2、3楼左右，就不管他们了。反正他住5楼，所以他说 if it did， 为什么他用过去式？因为这个句子是跟现在相反的一个假设语气，所以说他说如果真的啦，这些 Greenland 它的所有覆盖它的这些冰，通通都融化了，那么我们整个世界的海平面呢，将会怎么样 ？Would， 记得这是假设语气，它的整个海平面会往上升，大概上升7公尺，就是老师讲的2、3楼的这个高度那可是呢，这样的事情 ，which 可能呢会弊大于利，就是当然是不好的，2、3楼都被淹掉了，对，所以是不太好的一件事。
Okay, that finishes our text for both days. I learned something about Greenland. I had no idea about this until I read this article.
没错。
We're going to take a short break and then review some important and useful vocabulary items.
Okay.
Okay, number 1, our word is surface. The surface is the skin or outside covering of something.
这边当名词表示表面。
Number 2, theory. All scientists have theories. These are ideas about things that we don't yet understand.
名词理论。
Number 3, countless means infinite. It's not possible to limit something. You cannot control it.
这个字形容词无数的。
Number 4, melt is to change from solid to liquid.
没错，当动词融化。
5, dry up is the opposite of melt. Dry up is to remove all the liquid.
没错，当动词片语干枯了。
Number 6, exist is to live.
动词存在的意思。
Number 7, environmental. A-L homian makes environment an adjective, so anything that has to do with our surroundings is environmental.
这个 AL 是形容词的字尾，环境的。
Do more harm than good is our last item, and of course that will mean it's harmful.
没错，这个坏处呢多过于好处，所以是弊大于利。
Well, Bernice and I thank you for joining our program. We will be back forever.
Definitely.
No matter what the climate does, we will be here for you.
Okay, sure.
Till the next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.